Yes, perfect. So welcome, Rhea, to this debriefing session, and congratulations on scoring a 760. The improvement that you've
Thank
had from a
you.
620 is phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So Rhea, you improved from a 620, and you had a verbal score of 31 and a quant score of 44 or 45 in the
44. 44.
yes. And then now, as you went to a 760, you improved your verbal, you improved your quant tremendously. You are a Q50 V41, if I remember correctly.
Yes, yes.
Right? Q50 V41, and so let's talk about your preparation. How did you prepare during your both the attempts? What were so when did you start preparing for the GMAT? Let's start from the very beginning.
So I enrolled in this course in an Indian institute in
Hmm.
December 2015. That's
2015. That's quite some time
2015.
back. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I joined that institute. I attended. They had about 22 classes. I attended those classes. I didn't like even a bit of those classes. They
Hmm.
didn't teach me anything. I didn't like it at all. So I knew I didn't like it. But they still gave me some unofficial material. I prepared using that material in my first attempt
Hmm.
and the OG, which I did in January. But I think I made a big mistake of not doing it again before my final
So
attempt.
January
Like
of
before,
2016. That is what we're talking about.
yes. So I had
Okay.
my paper in August 2016. So
Hmm.
I left GMAT after that. I had my semester exams. I had too
Hmm.
much going on. I had my internship. So then after that, I picked up. I think in June, mid-June, I started preparing properly.
So this is June
So
of 2017 now. About
2016,
10 minutes.
16. I'm talking about
June
the
of 2000.
previous attempt.
Oh, June of 2016 started
Previous
preparing
attempt.
again
Yeah,
before your first attempt. Okay.
yeah. So I
Hmm.
started preparing properly in June 2016 when I picked up those books, those unofficial institute books, and I did all the questions from those books, and I was very comfortable with SC specifically. I was very comfortable with SC. I thought it was my thing, and I excelled at it completely. I never got any question wrong,
Hmm.
until my main GMAT when I got almost all wrong. So
So you got an ESR?
yeah, I got for the first one. So I checked that I don't remember exactly what my percentile was in SC, but it was extremely low.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that I got a lot of SCs wrong, and I was shocked looking at that because SC was always my strongest point.
And for someone
So
who's from Convent of Jesus and Mary and Sri Venkateshwara, yes, that is shocking. Yes.
yeah, so coming from a common school, I was like, I mean, SC, like it's like bread and butter for me. And even the first class I attended at my institute, I got all my SCs right. So I don't know what happened. Maybe it was anxiety, maybe it was a lack of concepts, but I just lost completely my this thing. So I knew of this friend who had joined e-GMAT only the SC course. In his first attempt, he got a 710, but his B was a 38, 39, I think. So he was really pathetic at SC when he started off, but he got a 99 percentile in his SC when he yeah. So I was very shocked because I was the one who was the brilliant one in SC. So I thought, okay, maybe let's look at a few free. Oh, but by the way, after my first attempt, I left GMAT completely. I picked up again on the 1st of June. I picked it up this year. I bought your course in Jan, although because I thought I would start preparing in Jan, but I couldn't. So I bought the course in Jan. I attended the free trials, the videos. I watched all those videos and I really liked them. I actually visited the website primarily for SC, but I really liked the CR and RC courses and the scholar reading looked very tempting. So I bought all of it. I bought the master comprehension course. So I bought all of it, but I started using it in mid of May or June.
Mid of
So
May.
the first,
Okay.
yeah. So but the first thing I did, I completed the entire SC course, and I loved it completely. So I made notes from all the videos, concept files. I made notes, proper notes. I did all the application files, and my accuracy was not very good in the beginning, but it picked up. Gradually, it picked up. And then I started attempting like 20 scholarly questions every day. So I didn't do anything specific for CR and RC because I thought maybe practice will make them okay. But practice was not making them okay. So I had to
Okay.
go back to the concept files for those also. So I
Okay.
didn't look at all the concept files, but yeah, the reading strategies I looked at, and for CR I looked at the pre-thinking assumption files. I even attended one of your webinars on pre-thinking. So then I started using that strategy of pre-thinking and that really worked. And I'm pretty sure I haven't ordered my ESR yet, but I'm pretty sure I got all my CRs correct because I'm very confident with my CRs.
Okay,
So
that's good to hear.
yeah. So what I used to do for this with this college I used to make customized quizzes of 41 questions each every day. I used to solve one quiz every day. So I think I did this for about 40 days. I'm not sure.
Okay,
About
wow.
40 or maybe 30 days. I'm not sure, but yeah, at a stretch, I did this every day. And for quant, I used to go to my GMAT club tests, and I used to take one test every day from there. So that was almost like an entire mock test every day. I used to do this at 9 a.m. in the morning because my test was at 9 in the morning. So I used to make sure that my mind is active in the morning because that I really need that. So this is something I did. So my accuracy started, I think started around 45 or something in this college union. But yeah, I ended up with in the 90s.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was confident of my preparation in the end. But yeah, I think it takes time to build up your accuracy in verbal. I did a lot of questions from e-GMAT. I did a lot of questions from the official resources. But these were the only two resources I had this time. I didn't touch anything else. I only had e-GMAT, and I thought e-GMAT was very close to the official resources, which I had, especially in SC. It was extremely close. So I also went back to the incorrect questions in my scholar union, specifically for SC, because CR and RC tend to remember a few questions, but SC you don't, and SC has specific rules. So I went back to those questions and solved them again. I didn't get all of them correct in the second attempt as well. They were really hard. Some of them were really hard. But I learned a lot from my second attempt specifically when I attempted those questions again. So yeah, and I think the thing that helped me the most was the scholar union for sure. I think you guys have amazing analysis. That's just amazing, especially ask an expert, that tool which you have. I really use that a lot.
Okay.
Especially even if you don't want to ask anything, you can read everybody's questions, and you get to learn a lot from that. So yeah, I had not analyzed questions like this before in my first attempt. So I started analyzing questions more, understanding the question system, pre-thinking. I think pre-thinking is very important because you don't get confused in between answer choices if you pre-think the answer actually. So that was there. In RC, I think, yeah, RC, I was okay at RC. Like, I wasn't that bad at it. So my accuracy was more or less the same throughout my preparation in RC. But I did about 4 to 5 RCs every day from the scholar union or from the OG. So I used to do about four to
Okay.
five RCs every day. In the last 2 weeks, I gave a lot of time. I think I gave about 12 to 13 hours in that every day
Okay. All right.
because yeah, because I have this problem. I need like muscle memory, brain memory. Like my brain needs to function a lot before the paper. So I made it a point that in the last 2 weeks I revised all my scholarly questions. I revised all the SC rules. I did the entire OG and verbal review in the last 2 weeks, and I went back to the error log as well. So I used to do I think about 150 questions every day so that my mind is
Wow.
active.
So you
But
are
the
a,
last two
you are a
weeks,
very rhythm and confidence person then.
yeah, I am. I can't do without practice. I need to practice a lot. Last time, I don't think I'm like, yeah, when you prepare the second time, you realize that you have too many loopholes in the preparation before that. So I realized that my preparation has too many loopholes. And I never really went back to the questions that I answered incorrectly. I never analyzed why what I chose was the wrong answer choice. So I think these things are important. We always should. I used to do even if I did like 10 CR questions from the scholarly. I made it a point to read the Ask an Expert, whatever those questions people had for every question.
Okay.
I read it for every question because that really helped me to. It sort of opened my mind a lot. So even like 2 days before the paper, the actual paper, I just did 10 questions just to read those explanations because I really liked them. Just to open up my mind.
I will definitely pass on your compliments to Shraddha and Krishna, who primarily contribute, who are
Yeah, I know.
prime authors in Ask the
Yeah,
Expert section.
that's really great because they're also asked to present the entire analysis of the
Yeah.
argument, and only then you get an answer. So when you read everybody else's, I obviously used to check if that analysis is correct or not because you end up reading wrong analysis, then my mind can go in the wrong direction. So I used to check on that. But yeah, but the analysis which Shraddha or Krishna used to offer, I used to read that properly. So that was definitely there. For quant, I think my quant was not very strong. My score in the first attempt shows that. So I practiced GMAT club tests every day, one test every day. But that is what I did. They have 25 tests, so one test every day, and sometimes like on alternate days, just to analyze or work on the weaker areas. That is what I primarily did. And in the last 2 weeks, I think the last 2 weeks helped me a lot, because before the last 2 weeks, my score was ranging from like a 720 to a 730. In the last 2 weeks, I took 3 GMAT preps and I got above a 715 all 3 of them. But before that, I wasn't going above a 750. So I knew that my preparation level was around a 720 or 750.
Okay.
Only in the last 2 weeks, maybe because I prepped for a very long time in a particular day, that is why my score really shot up. So even on the last day, I studied. Like people say, don't study, but I studied so that my mind is active.
So I think it just depends on just on that remark on what kind of a person you are. You
Yeah,
are
definitely.
Payal, for example, would not study before the exam, and I would. And Payal and I are very different people when you look at it. I've done very good at competitive exams always, but I've never been good academically. Payal, on the other hand, is has been excellent academically. She was actually she was the topper for all of Haryana in 12 boards. So not just the top ranker in her school, but topper in all of Haryana. So she was a gold medalist over there, and so for her, I think she's had, and she's been a topper all throughout her life. So she's always had that confidence, and she wouldn't study a day before the exam, whether it's
Probably.
boards, whether it's GMAT, whether it's GRE, and she's taken all three of them. She's taken both of them as such. So it works for her, and this works for me. And I think it's important to recognize what works for you, because
Definitely.
ultimately you need to be confident when you're walking into that exam hall. And I think that's something which is there. So let's kind of go back. You obviously studied a lot more during your second attempt than what you did in the first attempt. But it seems that your approach was different in the second attempt with regards to how you approach sentence correction or critical reasoning questions. So what was your approach like for sentence correction in the first attempt? And what was your approach like for sentence correction in the second attempt?
So I'll tell you something that's really funny. I always finished my verbal section in 15 minutes prior to
Ahead of
the actual
time.
given
Oh,
time.
wow.
In 60 minutes, 55 minutes, I used to finish my verbal section. So, but that really scared me, because you're not supposed to finish so early. There's a reason they give you 75 minutes. You're supposed to think, analyze. I think I rushed a lot through my essays because I thought it was so easy, like my cup of tea.
Okay.
Maybe I did that. I don't know what happened. I
But did you
finished at
focus on meaning
74
in your
something.
first attempt?
Definitely. I realized
Even in
that
your first
GMAT
attempt?
is no. But in the second attempt, I realized that GMAT is no more about idioms,
It's
or
not.
just maybe like subject verb, or those rules. You have to look at the meaning of the sentence. In fact, even in my actual GMAT, I got stuck at two sentence corrections. And I'm sure I got them correct, because it took me some time to understand the meaning of those sentences. But when I understood the meaning of those sentences, I realized which option was correct. But those were completely meaning-oriented sentence corrections, and those were my last two questions. I really wanted to get them correct, but I took, I think, 4.5 minutes on just two essays, because they were really
Okay.
hard. But I realized that they were meaning-oriented sentence corrections. So, yeah, but not in my first attempt. My first attempt, I used to look at stuff like, subject verb, or maybe there's some tense error, stuff like that. So I used to just quickly eliminate and choose my correct answer option. So I never analyzed that much. I never thought that I should give importance to meaning as well. I used to get my answers correct, but maybe an exam environment is different. You need to know your concepts very well to be able to perform well in the exam environment, I feel. I also get a little anxious during my exams. So especially aptitude exams, they make me a little anxious. So last time I was extremely anxious, but I think anxiety also comes from lack of confidence
It
in my
definitely does,
preparation.
yes.
Exactly. So somewhere in my heart, I knew that I had not prepared that well. So I was extremely anxious in my first attempt, but I was not anxious at all in my second attempt. I was very excited to go take the paper.
Okay.
So that is one thing. But my verbal time also, like I sort of started finishing at 73, 74 in the second attempt. When I started preparing, I started with the diagnostic. So in the diagnostic as well, I finished 15 minutes in advance. So I
Wow.
realized this is something. No, but my
You're not
accuracy was bad.
focusing on something. I know. When you finish 15 minutes in advance, you're just taking it
There
easy.
has to be some problem, yeah.
Yes.
So I talked to a lot of people I remember regarding this, and a lot of my friends who had taken the GMAT, and they said, "Oh, you're a genius. You finish in 15 minutes in advance." But I knew the reality. So, but then I worked on it. I spent more time on my sentence correction questions. I spent some more time on the reading the RC as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was rushing with that as well. I realized later. So inference was my biggest weakness in both CR and RC. But I realized that there are a lot of words like some, most, at least, at most. You need to pay attention to these words, and they can really create traps if you don't pay attention to these words, and you can sort of fall prey to them. So these things I really started noticing and paying attention on. And when you pay attention to these things, your time automatically increases. So my
Okay.
time automatically increased when I started
That's
paying attention to
basically,
the, yeah,
it's very interesting how experiences are very similar. When I remember when I was taking competitive tests, and that was 20 years back. Um, I had this friend, and I don't know if you know about Delhi College of Engineering or Delhi
yeah,
Institute of
yeah,
Technology.
I do, I
So
do.
you're taking the DCE test. So DCE used to have its own separate test at that time. And I was sitting in the exam, and he was sitting in the exam, and we came out of the test and said, "How was it?" And I found it to be relatively difficult. And the guy said it was very easy, very simple. I was done 15 minutes ahead of time, and I really struggled to finish it. And so at that moment, I was like, "This guy's going to do well, and I'm not going to do as well." And I was among the top 400 people, and that guy, I think his rank was like 7,000. So I was like, okay, now I know what really happened. So
Yeah, that happened.
yes, so yes, if you are doing that, then I think in most instances you are not focusing on the right things.
Yeah.
So I also want to thank you for writing your debrief. Now, in the debrief, you talked about the master comprehension course, right? And you are, as I say, from Jesus and Mary, if I remember correctly. Yes, I have your resume here.
Yes.
So and so someone who's pretty much studied English all her life, and high quality English. So how did you find the master comprehension course?
I think it was brilliant. There's some sort of an ego when you come from a convent school that you won't take English classes, that you won't pay like even a penny for any kind of an English course, because I've never taken English classes in my whole life. But yeah, I sort of set that apart. It's like, okay, maybe I should take this right now, because the reviews, a lot of my friends had taken this, so they had given me some brilliant reviews, and I had seen the results as well. So I thought maybe why not? But I think it was really brilliant. The quality of content that you guys offer is, I mean, it's very close to the official questions that we have. And I think every GMAT aspirant struggles with the choice of questions. We need some reliable source, and the official questions are limited. You can't only do the official questions. You need to practice over a long period of time. So you need extra questions. And I think the GMAT score game, as I said, was brilliant. And but more than that, I think the concept files, especially in SC, because I completed the entire course for SC. I think the concept files are so crisp and clear and so easy to understand. Anybody can understand those concept files. You come from a convent, you come from a government school, you come from anywhere in the world, you can understand those concept files. And I realized that, yeah, maybe you come from an excellent academic background and an excellent background in English, but there are some things which pertain to a specific kind of exam which you need to learn. So there were certain things which were only specific to GMAT, which obviously I had not known before I had joined the course. So I learned those things. I learned to focus on the right things through this course, which was very, very essential. Like, I knew that my English basics are in place. I knew that I know my basic rules because I've done Ren Martin all my life. But there are some things like meaning-oriented sentences. I don't know if I need to pay attention to the meaning or not. Nobody told me that. But e-GMAT, like those concept files told me that if you understand the meaning of the sentence, you can never go wrong, which is very important. But nobody tells you that if you don't actually talk to somebody who's an expert at it. So yeah, so when you, and you know, when you actually hear of sentence correction, your mind automatically goes to grammar, to rules, to certain set of those rules and grammar books, which are important. I'm sure they
And
are
that's how we've been
important.
tested, right? I mean, if you think about
Exactly.
sentence correction or English grammar, it's primarily been about grammar.
Exactly. So my mind also went there in the first attempt and I always look for grammatical errors in the sentence. And when you come down to 2 or 3 options, sometimes there are no grammatical errors in those. Sometimes there are modifier errors or placement errors, which are not exactly grammatical errors, they're also related to the understanding of the sentence. So I think I think your modifier concept file is the best because I struggled a lot with modifiers with that placement, which is, I watched that thrice. I
Oh,
made
wow.
notes, but I still watched it thrice because I used to struggle a lot with modifiers. So I watched that thrice, and I also did modifier based sentence corrections. You can choose what the set you want, right, in this qualitative. So
Yes.
I specifically did those. I think twice I did those. So yeah, so whatever I was weak at, I did that twice or thrice to get the perfect hang of it.
Okay.
And but I think the quality of the course, I've taken a lot of other courses. I've done Manhattan. I don't know if I should mention other names, but I
You
have.
can or you cannot. We don't care, frankly.
Yeah, so I have done Manhattan, I've done Kaplan, I've done Veritas. Like I have material from every course because my friend had like PDFs from all courses, so she sent them to me. And I had e-GMAT as well. So in spite of having those PDFs, I paid for this course. I used this. So, but I didn't think that those questions were close to the official questions. I thought they were a lot more hard. So I think doing extremely hard questions brings your confidence down, even when it's, that's not needed. e-GMAT is a bit on the harder side if you compare it to official questions, but the kind of hard which you need to practice, maybe the 700 or 650 level, which you need to practice. So yeah, so I think 500 level, most people, 400, 500 level,
Yeah,
most
there's
people
no
can
point
do.
creating those questions, right?
Exactly.
It's
There's no
not fun
point to
creating.
creating. Exactly.
I
I
mean,
agree. It's not even fun doing those questions.
yeah. So I mean,
So,
I still create questions. In fact, I think on Wednesday I created about 10 CR questions, and it's and we still don't have stats on those. We haven't released them to people. They'll be released most likely by the 1st of September. But essentially, I believe they're at least 650, if not 700 level questions, and otherwise it's just not fun. No fun creating those
so,
questions.
I mean, they should open up your mind, but not to the extent that they make you underconfident. Like
Okay.
most Manhattan questions make me very underconfident, especially quant. Their quant is so hard. But even verbal, I think I was unable to comprehend a lot of their reading comprehensions. Veritas SC was extremely hard. But I think this was the closest because I was doing OG and e-GMAT simultaneously, so I knew the level of both, and so I knew that they were pretty close, and I could rely on those questions.
So I think that's where Pyle makes the difference. Where when we create questions, she's I would say the master whip who really says, hey, we have these meaning-based questions in official guide, and these are the things that they test. We have to create these meaning-based questions and make sure they test those things. If they don't, she'll come back to us. So we have a set of people who make questions within the company, and then we have a set of people who check the quality. And Pyle's very particular about that quality aspect of it. And it's frustrating for us because we create a question and say, sorry, this doesn't seem to be testing the same things that the official questions are testing. And it takes about 45 to 50 minutes to really come up with a prompt, and then it takes a further amount of time to really create answer choices. And then so yes, it is frustrating, but and it is a lot of work. But then in the end, it does pay out
Yeah,
when
the
people like you
students are very
succeed.
happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Rhea, let's talk about next steps for you. Okay, but before that, I
Yeah.
have a curious question. What does Rhea mean?
It means a beautiful flower.
It means? Oh, it's a beautiful flower. Okay, so you wrote to us about you want to you are working for a VC firm right now, and you say want to go for MIF, and before we started recording, you said that you're confused whether you want to go for an MIF or an MBA, and just because you don't know which one's the right choice for you. So let's talk a bit about that as well. So tell me the confusion and tell me what's the worry.
Yeah, so I am working for a VC right now. I'll also be taking the CAT this year because I'm so confused that I take every exam possible. But yeah, in any case, so yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know. I know that work experience definitely adds to your personality, and it's obviously beneficial if you want to go. In fact, it's necessary if you want to go and do your MBA outside. But right now, if I apply to a few universities for an MIM or an MIF, or Oxford has MFE, which is a very good course. So if I apply to these courses, and if by chance I get like one of them or maybe two of them, then I'm not sure if I should take them up, or I'm not sure if they're better than an MBA, which I can do maybe 3 years down the line. So I want to do obviously the best thing which is possible to me, but I don't know what the best thing is right now to do.
What's the end goal?
So I don't know. The end goal is, yeah, I want to work for a few years. I thought, in my third year, I've loved consulting because we were given a lot of case studies to read about. So I love consulting, absolutely. Consulting and finance are my main domains, which I really like. So that's one. And so that's why I was targeting ISB as well, because ISB is the best consulting.
So let's kind of look at this and say, hey, you wanna. So for you, consulting is the first choice, right? Let's call it this way. And hypothetically,
or finance.
Or well, you have to choose one. If you want to make a decision that you want to stand by, you have to choose one. And again, you can change. You can change that. A year, 2 years down the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like maybe it should be finance, because I had a consulting job with KPMG India, and I had a finance job with this VC. It is not even a renowned VC. It's like all VCs are generally small VCs. But I took this up instead of that one. I worked there for 1 week and I didn't like it at all. But obviously, a new consultant never gets too much work to do. But in a VC, you have like 6 to 8 employees, maximum 10 employees. They give you a lot of quality work. Yes. That's what I wanted. I'm getting a lot of good work here. I wasn't getting good work there. They were just making me travel too much. So that's why I left that. So for now, I've chosen financial consulting. I don't know about my future.
Okay. So if you were to really say, 4 years down the line, which do you have a company in mind that you want to work for?
Yeah, I really have tried, and I want to work for McKinsey.
Okay.
I have tried applying there as well, but I don't have enough work experience for them.
So you want to work for McKinsey?
Okay. I really do.
So that
how a few
helps.
People are working there. Yeah, so consultancy for now.
Okay. So, and you are aware that the life of a consultant is a difficult life.
Extremely hard. Yeah, 15 hours a day. I love hard.
No, it's not just about 15-hour days. It is about that you're traveling so much.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So that's the thing. At least for 6 to 7 years of my early work life, I want to work very hard. Then I can probably open up my own thing, my own consultancy firm, or my father's a businessman, so I have like my entire family is into business. Maybe in the long run, I might pick that up. I'm not sure. But in the first few years, 7 to 8 years of my work life, I want to do really good work and a lot of work.
Okay, so the MIM and MIF programs that you're talking about, how many people does McKinsey recruit from there?
I'm not sure.
Figure that out. And figure out how many people does McKinsey recruit from a typical B school. So I think LinkedIn is an amazing resource. Okay. So look at the schools, and you look at any school, their LinkedIn page, you can actually go and look at their alumni. And and there's a link on that says, hey, look at the alumni of this page, of the school, and you can really figure out how many or what proportion of them are working at McKinsey, or Bain, or BCG, and essentially really kind of reach out to a few of them and say, how the hell did you get into McKinsey? I mean, what was your path? You can actually even see the path on their on their page, but essentially. if McKinsey is your school of choice, I think that's the way, or the place where you want to work. Then that's the way that I would go about doing it, to really say, hey, this is my path into McKinsey. All right. The second thing that I would do is, again, I'd reach out to people who work at McKinsey and hopefully are at positions where they recruit other folks, and really just talk to them and say, hey, I have these two options. Which ones? And it's very, and I want to work for McKinsey. Which option do you think I should pursue? And now that you have a 99 percentile on GMAT, and McKinsey does recognize GMAT scores, there is an additional leg up, because if you really say, hey, this is who I am, this is my background, I have a 99 percentile on GMAT, I just took it, I'm confused, and I really want to work in consulting field. Since you've been a consultant, I'd really like 15 minutes of your time to really figure out which choice to take, and what would you recommend, and what should my considerations be. When this, I'm not looking for a job, I'm just looking to learn from your experience and from your insights. Okay. And essentially both schools will have paths to McKinsey, I will tell you. I mean, it's just that where is it that the path is a lot more certain versus not. Okay. And I'll tell you my case, where when I graduated from engineering, I was a crazy wireless guy. I mean, I would read IEEE papers when I was in my undergrad, and I wanted to work for one of two companies, either Qualcomm or Nokia. And so in my final year, I took my gate. I said I hated MBA. Just to really say, people would tell me you should do your MBA, because I did lead clubs in college. But I was like, no, if I've done an engineering degree, then I have to contribute to this field. I'm never going to do an MBA. That's another thing that I would say. Don't say never do anything. You always end up doing that. So essentially, I worked hard for GATE. I was one of the GATE toppers, and that allowed me to get into IASC, which was my dream college. But it also allowed me to get into this special program at IIT Delhi, which was on chip design, masters in chip design. Now, I had no interest in chip design, except that Nokia was one of the sponsors over there. So in this program, they took 18 people, and Nokia sponsored 2 out of those 18. They paid for it, and then they would take you, after 1 year, they would take you to Germany to do your internship. And this was a Nokia R&D. And I said, oh, this is my dream place. So I went in, I cracked the interview. The interview was all on wireless, and very few people in the country knew more wireless. Very few graduates knew more wireless than I did. So once I got through the interview, they took me as one of those 2 people, and they flew me to Nokia Germany. And I did chip design for 6 months as an internship there, and then they hired me. The moment they hired me, I turned around and said, I want to do wireless. I don't want to do chip design. And they said, yeah, you're a fresher. We haven't invested enough in you. Yeah, go do wireless. So and so I had that path, and that's why I said, figure out where you want to work. Now, 4 years down the line, I was absolutely bored of that work, because I was doing research on stuff that is coming out right now on phone. So this is 2000 to 2003. Okay, I was building stuff that you guys are seeing right now, and it's incredibly frustrating to do that, because you don't know whatever you're doing if it's ever going to see the light of the day. And that's when I said, I need to have that power to build products which I take to market. So I need to do an MBA. I would never do an MBA. I need to do an MBA just because I want to do this. So as I really say, I mean, what you want to do changes. Was doing a master's, a wrong decision for me? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm not using a lot of chip design, but when in building e-GMAT and building the technology part, I'm not a technologist, but I as a CEO of the company, I define where we spend our energy. And algorithms and big data is one thing that is a very big focus area for us. And you talked about Scholaranium. A lot of Scholaranium was picked because of my understanding of algorithms, which I learned during my master's degree. And the fact that knowledge gain doesn't go waste. So you don't have a wrong decision. I would say, I think you have to really just chart your path towards what you think you want to do right now. And you might get into consulting in 2 years. Along the way, you might really decide, hey, this is too hectic. It's killing me, and that's okay.
Probably, yeah.
That's okay, as long as you would have had that satisfaction to really say, I love consulting. I tried doing that, and I did do that very well. I mean, the same way I did do really well in the wireless aspects of things as well. It's just that I decided this is not what I want to do for life. So that's kind of what I would really say. I mean, you are at a juncture right now where you can't make a wrong choice. You have good choices ahead of you. The wrong choice would be to not do anything or to not work hard. So
That's funny.
so
I was also thinking, because I looked up a lot, so I was I was researching on these IIMs and stuff. So there the acceptance rate for Mackenzie is about 2% something like that. So also Mackenzie core. I was reading a lot of posts by professors in Quora where they said stuff like consultancy firms generally prefer to work with freshers because they don't have a sort of a preconceived this thing like work culture in their mind. So
not again,
like
again, again,
preference, obviously. It's not.
again, do primary research.
I'll do
Okay,
that.
what you're gonna read on Quora is gonna be someone's half-baked opinion, which they would have written in the time that they have to write something. Yes, it's useful. It's useful as a background, but it's not the complete picture. You can read 100 posts, or you can spend 2 hours talking to the right people. I bet you're going to get way more insights on those 2 hours, during those 2 hours than you'd get from reading those 100 posts. It doesn't mean you should not,
Yeah, that's fine. But
right?
yeah, just
Right?
to,
But essentially use them as background, but always, I mean, don't forego primary research, talking to people, reaching out to people, just because you've done the secondary research overall. And you'd be amazed by the kind of insights that you would get. So, and just as an example, when we built Scholaranium, we went through 4 iterations in a period of 4.5 months. The first iteration, we thought we had a pretty good system, and then we'd done some amazing work. We did a ton of use case analysis and all of that, and we launched it out to our alpha testers. There were about 500 people who tested it out, and we endorsed, we solicited their feedback, and they gave some amazing suggestions. I mean, those little things where to place the timer, how to place the timer, the ability to hide the timer, and do a few other things which we hadn't thought about. And that's I mean, when you talk to people and you really say, hey, why do you want this feature? Now, there were other features that we did not accept also. And the reason was, when we looked at people with regards to why they want that feature, we didn't think it was useful. But there were features which were incredibly powerful, which were very, very useful, and which were, the inputs were given by our students. So talk to people. You would have an absolutely clear idea. And yes, stats are one thing. This is another thing that I would really say. But I mean, you scored in the top 1 percentile on the GMAT. So I would really say 3% acceptance is pretty good, given where you're coming from. So
yeah, that's true.
so anything else that I can answer for you, Rhea?
No, I just have to really thank you and e-GMAT because you guys have really, really been very, very kind. And I had other prep companies, but none of them were as kind. And you guys have been so supportive and so helpful. And I don't think I can thank you guys enough. Because even my parents wanted to thank you.
Okay. Well, that's a first for us. But
Yeah.
yes.
But I think, yeah, you guys are doing a great job, and you have all my emails received very, very prompt responses, and you've always been supportive. Any questions, you've always answered my questions. No prep company does that. So because I have enrolled in many, so I know. So yes,
Well, thank you for the praise. I truly appreciate that, and we try to do our best. And in our hearts of hearts, we are product designers, so we take pride in the products that we build. And so yeah, let me actually